Good morning. I'm Ann Ladke. I'm the Executive Director of Women Employed and the co-chair of the Mayor's Task Force on Working Families. I'm joined by my co-chair, Alderman Amaya Pawar of the 47th Ward, Alderman Tony Folks of the 16th Ward, and other members of the task force who will also speak with you this morning. I want to begin by thanking the Mayor for convening the task force and by thanking the members for months of hard work they did to come up with recommendations that will help make Chicago a leader in responding to the needs of working families. Many people and many organizations, including many represented behind me today, contribute their viewpoints in sessions across the city in neighborhoods all over, and I want to thank them as well. I'm pleased to say that together we conducted a process that all the members, business, advocates, labor, all found to be fair and inclusive. Today, the City Council is taking an important step forward on our recommendations with the introduction of an ordinance ensuring that every employee in Chicago can earn paid sick time that they need to take care of themselves and their families. This is simply a matter of fairness, a basic standard for a basic benefit that protects working people, the public health, and children as it strikes a balance, a reasonable balance with the concerns of employers. The fact is that jobs without these basic standards are growing in our city and growing rapidly. And it's time to take action as we have on other important workplace issues in the past. Tens of thousands, way too many people in Chicago lose pay and even lose their jobs when they get sick or need to care for a sick child. This is just plain wrong. We need to ensure that our workplace standards keep up with changes in our economy. We look forward to prompt action on this ordinance, and we thank the aldermen who have already been working hard on this and who have become co-sponsors. Now I'd like to introduce my co-chair, Alderman Amaya Pawar.
Thank you, Ann. My name is Amaya Pawar. I'm the Alderman of the 47th Ward. It was truly an honor to be a co-chair of the task force. I want to thank Mayor Emanuel for putting the task force together. It was made up of business advocates, small business owners, aldermen, state legislators. It was a diverse group, and we came out to what I believe is a balanced approach, which we're introducing here today. But let me also, before we move forward, recognize that we would not be here today had it not been for the nearly 2 years of work that the Earned Sick Time Coalition and Alderman Tony Folks and Alderman Joe Moreno put in. They introduced an original ordinance a couple of years ago, which led to a citywide referendum. It was overwhelmingly supported by residents in the city of Chicago, which then led to the creation of the task force, and here we are today with an ordinance introduction. So I think it's important to recognize their leadership and acknowledge the fact that had they not been working on this issue for the last couple of years, we would not be standing here today. I also think it's important to recognize the Chicago Federation of Labor, because they sat at the table with us and tried to hammer out a balanced proposal. And I also want to recognize the Illinois Restaurant Association. Now, we had a lot of partners at the table, but whenever something like this comes up, there's a knee-jerk reaction from many business advocacy groups. They say you're going to kill jobs, jobs are going to leave, you're going to cut hours. But the Illinois Restaurant Association in Sam Toya worked with the Chicago Federation of Labor and everyone on the task force, including Ann and myself, to come to a compromise, to come to a balanced solution that makes sure that 460,000 workers in the city of Chicago have some access to paid sick leave. It's just a baseline of decency. And I understand that we have other groups on the task force that came out against the task force recommendations. Just know this. There was a report that was leaked to the Washington Post just about a week ago. Chambers of commerce across the country were surveyed. Over 80% of executives surveyed nationwide believe that the minimum wage at the statewide level should go up. This is indicative of the fact that I believe that for some of the business groups, they are out of step with their membership. And they're starting to hopefully realize that even their members believe that we should have some baseline of decency when we talk about workers. So with that, I just wanted to say it was truly an honor to co-chair this task force, an honor to work with my colleagues and the people standing behind me, and even an honor to work with the people who are against everything. Because I think we're going to introduce an ordinance today, and we should move it quickly, and we should pass it next month. And to continue sort of building on the advocacy around this issue, and to make sure that we're recognizing the right people, I want to introduce one of the task force members and one of the lead sponsors of this ordinance, but also someone who's been taking a lead on this for the last couple of years, my friend Alderman Tony Folks.
Thank you. I also want to thank UFCW Local 881, that's my local, for the support that they gave. You know, I was a proud lead sponsor of this ordinance 2 years ago, and today I am a proud lead sponsor to the ordinance that we have going forth. As a member of the task force, I had dialogue with business groups, researchers, healthcare experts, economists, and many other people. The report we produced is a sound roadmap for City Council to move this ordinance forward. Now it's time for my colleagues to make the dream of paid sick leave a reality. I also want to add that the country is moving in this direction. Right after we started the coalition, President Obama signed an executive order that employees, government employees, had paid sick days. That was huge. It was huge for us because maybe he was looking at what we were doing in Chicago, I felt. Also, paid sick days are personal to me. Many of you heard my story, but I worked for Jules for 19 years. I was a cake decorator. And at one point in my career, I became ill. And I had chicken pox at the age of 32 years old. And I had no idea that I was sick. All I knew, I had fever. And the fever was so bad that literally the water was running down my legs. And I made cakes for little kids. Many times I had cold, and I was dealing with food. And even if you had a glove on, if you went to blow your nose, you still, that contamination was on that glove. People deserve to be at home when they are sick, okay? And they deserve to be paid for being when they're at home. You can't lose money. I took off when I had chicken pox for a week. When I went to the doctor gave me an extra week. He said, the only reason I'm going to give you another week off is because you had taken a week off prior. It was 18 days, he said, that he allowed his patients that had chicken pox to be off. 18 days without pay? Come on. I only had 3 personal days. Really 2, because I took St. Patrick's Day off. That was my birthday. So I only really had 2. How would I have paid my bills? This is a good ordinance. I'm proud of everyone that's standing behind me. I'm proud of the task force. And I'm going to be proud of my colleagues when we move this forward. Thank you all for all your support.
Next, we have the second half of the dynamic duo that got us to this point is Alderman Joe Moreno, also one of the lead sponsors. We also would not be here without his leadership over the last couple of years.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all. It's a great day today. I want to really thank Alderman Folks, my lead co-sponsor, and her story and her leadership on this issue. Also Alderman Mitz, Alderman Arena, Alderman Lopez, Alderman Irvin, Alderman Wagaspack Scott, that are all here, Kappelman. Who am I missing? Alderman Moore. I didn't see. I'm sorry. I was looking at the woman employed sign, which is another great backer of ours. With this, I'll be brief. This is a no-brainer. Someone said today our little trucking permit ordinance is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer for us. Not only is this an employee bill, it's a consumer bill. And as Alderman Folks stated about her having to choose between going to work sick or not being paid, if establishments don't support this ordinance, I'd like them to put a sign up in their establishment saying, "Caution, your food may be being prepared by someone that's sick because we don't support earned sick days." You know, that's what it comes down to. And that we, even in the United States of America, to have to talk about this issue and don't have this issue nationally is a disgrace. So again, I thank the task force. Alderman Puar's leadership on the task force was instrumental in getting us to this point. If your aldermen aren't on board, please reach out to them and help them to get to the point that we are, because in Chicago very soon, every worker is going to have the right to earn a sick day off. It's a human right. It's a right that we all should have. It's a right that all of us aldermen have, and it's a right that every Chicagoan should have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Emma Mitz, 37th Ward Alderman. Let me just say that I want to thank the task force. It's been a lot of long months working on this ordinance behind the scene. A lot of testimonies, but being real, because the economy increased, wages decreased, and the families need some help. I think about the mothers who have to take off when they are sick, then their children get sick, then they're getting fired for not coming to work. We have to change this. We have to be about all people, that in understanding illness will occur. Now, it's just a small step, and of course, large corporations or corporations don't agree, but that's okay. They still have to have a workforce. And eventually they'll come around, hopefully, to understand that this is about making sure people come to work and come to work healthy. I have been in businesses where employees was working, knowing that they were really sick, coughing, and Lord and behold, I catch a cold from them, and I'm telling them, you need to be at home. But yet they say, I can't stay at home. I can't afford to. How can you not stay at home? Because the amount of germs that you're carrying when you're sick, or for whatever illness, you need to be able to rest. The doctor tells you rest. And when you rest and feel better, you can do a better job. So look at it from both ends. You're either going to get some productive work, or you're going to get someone who don't feel so well, who's going to give you a portion of the work that you should be getting. So let's support the ordinance for the right reason, so that parents won't be threatened when they take off sick, and they could be able to stay at home, get well, or take care of the children, get them to the doctor without having to lose their job or lose pay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman. Now I'd like to introduce, excuse me, Adam Cater, the Worker Center Director from Arise, and one of his colleagues.
Good morning. I'm Adam Cater with Arise Chicago. We're a 25-year-old interfaith workers' rights organization. We do many things.
I'm sorry to interrupt Adam, but if the people in the back of the room could please keep the noise down at that end. People are having a really hard time hearing here. So can we have a minute just to take the noise level down? Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Adam Cater with Arise Chicago. We're a 25-year-old workers' rights organization. We do a lot of things at Arise, but one of the things we do every day is we hear from workers across many industries, none of whom have the basic right of a paid sick day. So that is why we are part of this coalition. We're proud to be represented on the task force, and we're proud to stand here with you today to share a little bit more about why this is so urgent for the City Council to pass swiftly. So I'm joined today, I'm proud to introduce Abraham Cabrera, who's one of our members, also an advocate for paid sick days. And to any naysayers, since we have heard some opposition to this ordinance, as a delivery driver of food, I encourage those business groups that oppose this to think about the people who are delivering food to them who do not have paid sick days. So with that, I'd like to introduce Abraham.
Good morning. My name is Abraham Cabrera, and I'm a member of Arise of Chicago. I have worked in Chicago for more than 10 years, mostly as a restaurant delivery driver. And I have never had a paid sick day. I work hard to provide for my kids. One is 5 and the other one is 7. My children has asthma. So when one becomes sick, I must bring them to the ER and stay with them for the day and miss work. When I take a sick day, it means I don't get paid. It means I have to choose between supporting my children's physical health and financial health. I should not have to do that, and no one should have to do that. I know that I speak for thousands of other workers in these situations. We need to introduce this ordinance today, and it is important we pass it as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce Bob Ryder, Vice President of the Chicago Federation of Labor.
No, on behalf of myself and the president of the CFL, Jorge Ramirez, just so happy to be here. The CFL represents half a million workers through our 300 affiliates. We represent everyone from airline pilots to zookeepers, crossing guards, to the doctors and nurses in the Cook County Health and Hospital System. You know, I want to thank Alderman Pawar and Ann Ladke from Women Employed for being the co-chairs of this task force, all the aldermen that participated, the folks in the Earned Sick Time Coalition who've spent so much time around this issue. You know, this task force experience, I do a lot of these task force to sit and come up and, let's figure it out. This task force was highly functional. And I got to tell you, Alderman Pawar talked about Sam Toya from the Illinois Restaurant Association. This was not an easy process. There was a lot of debate, a lot of hard conversations. But you know what you get out of those hard conversations? Everybody's voices is heard, and despite what you've seen in terms of dissents and other things, we made sure that everyone's viewpoint in that task force was respected. If not, we wouldn't have had so many meetings. But this is an important issue. You know, you've had other major cities that have moved forward with the Earned Sick Time Ordinance, right? You've got Seattle, you've got San Francisco, you've got New York, and now right here in Chicago. We're still on the leading edge of this, and it's important. You know, at the CFL, we represent all these different folks under collective bargaining, but many of our unions already have sick time in our collective bargaining agreements. What we want to do is we want to raise standards for everybody, and no better place to do it than here in Chicago. If you look at this city council with these aldermen that stand behind me who've been here, going into multiple terms, we've got minimum wage here in the city of Chicago. We've got a wage theft ordinance that Alderman Pawar worked on with some of our groups here in the city of Chicago. To add earned sick time to that list, I say right now this city council is probably the most functional part of government we have here in the state of Illinois. Thank you.
That concludes, unless there's someone else? All right, that concludes our remarks for today. I want to conclude by thanking the aldermen who are here, particularly Alderman Moreno and folks who have led the charge. Alderman Pawar, my co-chair, was honored to work with him. I think our task force really broke important ground for Chicago. We and all of us in our Earned Sick Time Coalition, who have worked so hard over the years, believe that we can make Chicago a leader in responding to the needs of working families and balancing those needs with the needs of employers. It can be done. I think our ordinance shows it can be done, and we are going to be out there urging every Chicagoan to get behind this and make sure that we can get this done, get it done quickly, and begin to make sure that workers and families can take care of their health and be great employees. Thank you all very much.